Greetings, citizens of Nerdtropolis. Sean Tajipour here, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and my guest today is Nicholas Maggio, who makes his feature film debut with Mobland starring John Travolta.
2 men, in and out. What you thinking?
It's gonna be about pills and money and cussing.
Act like you understand what's at stake here.
She's my niece. I understand what's at stake.
What do you know? It's a damn empire, Bodie. You're saying this outfit is mob.
What are we dealing with?
Locals, that's all. Nothing that can't be handled quick.
Hey, Sean, how are you, man? I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you today. I'm to say congratulations. This is your feature film directorial debut, correct?
First one, hopefully not the last, right?
No, Mobland, this is it. How does it feel for your first film to have it underneath your belt and being in this genre?
I mean, absolutely terrifying. And, you know, it's been such a fun experience from day one. And so I'm still new enough to this to where everything is magical and fun. And I'm the magic of filmmaking. And, you know, I still get to appreciate all of that. And hopefully that never changes for me. But yeah, it's still terrifying. It's my baby that is now getting released to the world. And, you know, people outside of my mother are going to see it. And, you know, you have no, I can't sit there and whisper the caveats into every viewer's ear about, yeah, but we shot this in only however many days. And, you know, so it's pretty nerve wracking to kind of let it go out and let people think what they will and what they want with it. But it's extremely fun. And it's, like I said, I'm such a movie nerd that I'm just having a blast because I got to make a film and it'd be a part. It's just so incredibly fun.
Yeah, quite the feat that you were able to accomplish. And you landed John Travolta in this movie, which is a significant achievement. Can you share how you brought that seasoned actor to be part of Mobland?
Yeah, absolutely. I credit Stephen Dorff 100% for getting him and for getting him interested, at least. Is Stephen was the first one. Shiloh and Stephen were the first ones to read it. Once they were involved, Stephen got it to John. Was like, hey, I want to do this. I think you'd be great. Luckily, John read it, was into it, called me. We had a few conversations and he was in. I wrote a decent script and I think that was the start of it. And then having Stephen in my corner kind of fighting for me a little bit was definitely, didn't hurt at all to get John involved. So yeah, once John was involved, it was just, it took off and we were in, we were done, we were financed and we were in pre-pro. Yeah.
So you got John Travolta here and then you have the rest of the cast. How did you approach assembling such a talented cast to go with John Travolta?
I mean, honestly, these things are, getting a film made is all the stars aligning and everything happening and luck and persistence and everything. So, I love to say I just sent it to Kevin Dillon and he said yes. And then, but oh God, everything just had to be right. It was just one of those things that Kevin's name came up in conversation. What about him? I'm like, oh my God, he's the perfect Trey. We sent it to him and he liked it and he's in. And, it was just stars aligning. It just worked out. And I lucked out so hard on the cast because they were able to really tell this story. And I truly think it was perfectly cast. I would love to take full credit for that, but I can't. It was my producer, Corey Large, who got it to the right people, Steven, who then got it to the right people. I mean, it was just one after another, the things that had to happen and line up. I did get the script to Ashley Benson. I was friends with her. I texted her. I said, hey, this would be fun. She called me 2 hours later, was like, I'm in, let's go. So it was honestly with stars aligning. I would love to take credit, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, amazing cast. And I'm a big fan of Kevin Dillon, which I'm sure you are as well. I mean, I love seeing him on anything.
Anything. And he's so good in this. I mean, it was so fun. We let him run with the New York accent. I worked that in. I played with that, which ended up just being such a great little character trait for him. And he's so fun to watch. I think he's definitely the sleeper in it. I think everyone who watches like, holy shit, Kevin is so good.
That's for sure. And I heard initially this film had a different title than Mobland. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, it was written as Blood on the Porch. That's what my original screenplay was, Blood on the Porch. which I absolutely love that title. I was told pretty early on from producers, hey, that sounds like a horror film, change it. So it got changed pretty quick. So it was titled American Metal, and American Metal was the working title. That's what the slate said. That's what it was until distribution. It's a game that everyone plays for marketing and for distro and try to get the right eyes on it and asses in the seats. And Mobland was considered the, best title for it.
Yeah, all three of those titles work. So maybe you can use one of those titles for another project.
Oh yeah, they're in the back pocket for sure. They're in the back pocket.
Yeah, and as a filmmaker, you must draw inspiration from various sources. Are there specific films or directors that have greatly influenced your style and vision for this movie, Mobland?
I cite 90s independent cinema absolutely as being one of them. 70s, I love 70s films. But then also friends doing, photography, cars, music. I mean, I pull from so much stuff. Unapologetically, Mobland has some nods to films that I love. In fact, there's a pretty fun little Easter egg that during a scene, you'd have to look for it pretty closely, but there is an extra dressed exactly as Ryan Gosling from Place Beyond the Pines, holding a helmet, same shirt, same tattoos that we put him in. It was actually my second AC. We put him in as, I just wanted to show a little bit of an homage to that because of that film and what that did for me and how that affected me. There's a few things similar to that in there in the film where I got to play a little bit and, do little nods to people who have been doing this before me and doing it extremely well.
Yeah, and you mentioned cars, and I'm a car guy, so
epic, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of impressive cars in this movie, intense car sequences. So how did you select the cars in this movie, and what were some of the challenges faced pulling off that adrenaline pumping car scene?
I love cars. So cars was a huge thing to get the right cars. I think oftentimes for like an action thriller, maybe it's like, we'll get the bright red Chevelle muscle car fully, it's like, that's not really, I wanted it to be realistic. I had the most fun. Transpo sending me images, text messages. What about this car? What about this? So I had so much fun getting to pick them. The hero robbery car, the T-Type, the Buick. I used to have that exact car, same color. So when Transpo sent that, I told them I wanted a G body, whether it was a Cutlass or a Monte Carlo. I knew I wanted that car. They found the T-Type. I had them put Grand National wheels on it. So it looked like maybe the driver that they stole it from knew a little bit about cars. So maybe it was souped up a little bit. I couldn't tell if that was a T-Type or a Grand National. It was kind of throwing me off because they are pretty much the same vehicle. Same car. Grand Nationals came in black. T-Types came in other colors. So it's the only difference. And then the trim. But yeah, that's a T-Type. It's an 86 T-Type with Grand National wheels, beat to shit, but like you hear that turbo spool up, really fun. And then the trucks, Kevin Dillon's car, which is just so epic.
Where'd y'all find that one at? Because that was just amazing.
Oh, it's so stupid. I knew I wanted an import and I knew I wanted a crazy, JDM, just lowered something ridiculous. They actually found that local in Atlanta on Craigslist for sale. And so I think we ended up renting it from the guy who was selling it and then gave it back to him after production. Maybe a little worse for wear, but
now he's asking more for it though, because it's been in the movie.
Oh yeah. Right. Kevin Dillon signed it.
Yeah.
But seeing Kevin in that car for the first time, God, it's one of my favorite things to see when he first comes on screen with that ridiculous bright green Honda Civic. So much fun. But yeah, and then the race cars, just every car I got to have so much fun with.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, I'm a gearhead. I got some old school cars myself. I got a 68 Plymouth Satellite.
Oh,
it's actually a cop car too. It's a police car and everything. And I got a 32 Pontiac 5-winning coupe. So yeah, I'm a classic American muscle type guy. So
that's amazing.
That's why this movie spoke to me.
That's not to go off too much on a tangent, but so I did a photo series. I found these guys on Instagram, North Alabama. I flew there. I took photos of them. And two of the guys who I met on that trip 6 years ago, he brought his Duster. That's what Shelby drives, is his personal Duster. And then it's also that he dropped a 440 into literally 2 days before filming, and he was on set to make sure it ran. And then also the Monte Carlo drag car. That's another guy in Alabama who literally trailered that thing to us. And then that's him driving it in the drag racing scene in Alabama where we shot it.
Yeah, a lot of cool cars in the Southwest and Gulf Coast states. I mean, there's so many awesome things to pick from. When did this initial idea for the film come from?
So it started when I went and shot photos of those guys and spent time with them in Northern Alabama with their cars. I fell in love with the area. I fell in love with the cars, the car culture. And so from there, it was my storytelling hat went on. I was like, well, how can I set a film in here? And by no means are those guys involved in pills and clinics. That was all just storytelling to get me in that location. But I knew I wanted to tell a Southern Gothic story that revolved somewhat around car culture, but also dangerous and violent and, maybe somewhat poetic if you got that out of it.
Yeah. And how did you want this film to stand out from like other similar genre films like this?
I don't necessarily want it to. I think it comfortably finds its place in neo-noir, American Southern Gothic, very linear, gritty, brutal stories. I knew I didn't want to change the genre. I don't ever see myself as being a director or story writer that's going to change the way people see cinema. I want to tell really, really personal, brutal, pretty stories. And that's what I've always wanted to do. And I think that, I've been saying that Mobland is my love letter to the genre. That's what I set out to do. And I wanted to make a very, very simple, no frills movie.
Yeah. And did you have like a memorable moment or any challenges from the set that you could share?
Oh God, every second of shooting. I mean, in my first film. So, I mean, everything, it was such an incredibly tight schedule, budget constraints. I mean, everything played into the stress that I endured. I can't wait to do it again. And I loved every second of it, but it was so incredibly, it was so much to take on in such a little amount of time. But every single moment, I'm a movie nerd. I love film, and I would literally grab a PA and be like, dude, we're making a movie. Like, come on. Like, this is so fun. Seeing Steven walk up day one, morning one, dressed as Clayton. And I'm just like, fuck, that's so cool. Like, seeing the lines that I wrote. I mean, it's just, I'm such a nerd. I'm such a movie nerd that like, it was just so incredibly satisfying to see it all come to life and to be on set and do what, to be a small part of what I love and what I've loved for so long, being film.
Yeah, this is your first directorial debut feature film, which should be an amazing feat. Was there something specifically that you learned as quickly that you would use the next time you make a film?
Yeah, a lot of things. I think one of the things that I talk about that is very kind of surface level, it's not very deep at all, but if you can set a conversation on a patio, you can set it in a gun shop. And I think those small set pieces that I switched and the little, maybe it's a prop, maybe it's the right, just tweaking little things can really add to the story. And so, the opening scene in the gun shop, that was initially at a bar. And as we were scouting, I was like, a bar is cool. I can make that look cool, but like a gun shop is so much cooler. And so I think, really paying attention and really thinking about those super subtle, nuanced details, God is in the details, devil in the details, whoever. And I think that, that's one of the main things I learned. And also just trust your instinct. Man, when you are on such a tight schedule and you're just running and gunning, you got to make decisions quick with conviction, stick to them, and just trust your instinct.
Yeah, that's a lot of great lessons right there, not just for filmmaking, but for life.
Sure. I'm a life coach also. It's what I do.
There you go. I love that. But Mobland, great film, awesome cast. Love seeing Kevin Dillon and John Travolta in this movie. What's next for you after this?
I got a few scripts. I have a couple that are out that are, getting worked on, cast. just trying to do it, man. It's as I've been saying, like stars have to align, and more stars have to align to get your second and third and fourth and fifth, and it just doesn't stop. I think hopefully it becomes a little bit easier to at least get eyes on your projects because of John Travolta. Okay, John Travolta trusted him. It must not. He can't be horrible. That's the hopes. And so just I'm waiting for this to come out to hopefully be a little bit of a calling card. So people can now read any projects I have, through the lens of Mobland, so they can understand what I want to do, with my next project. So I'm ready to go. So I'm ready to go shoot next week. Let's do it.
Yeah, great job, Nicholas. Really looking forward to your next projects, and we'll be telling everybody about Mobland. Great movie.
I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for having me on this. I look forward to it.
Once again, this is Sean Taj, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and stay tuned for more movie news, reviews, interviews, and trailers.